Welcome to Night Freaks, where we interview DJs, producers, nightlife industry workers, and everyone in between. You can find us on Instagram at night.freaks and Spotify and YouTube at Night Freaks. I hope you enjoy this episode and please keep listening. All right, what's up, everybody? We are back with another episode. Today we are interviewing Jason Portillo, also known as JP. He's been making real noise in LA, not just as a DJ, but as a community builder. He is the founder of True Music Lovers, a collective that's carving out space for DJs and crowds who actually care about the music. His sets are intentional, his events are curated, and his approach is all heart, no ego. Whether it's warehouse sessions, city pop-ups, or late night runs, Jay's been building something with purpose. So let's get into it. Jay, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. That intro was really very professional. So I'm like, whoa, it's official now.
Yeah, bro, we gotta get you right on the intro. Start everything off good. But yeah, let's get right into it. So normally I like to start these interviews off by just kind of getting like your background, like how you really got
Yeah,
into electronic music, how you got into DJing, like all this stuff. So if you could just give us like a quick breakdown of what really pushed you to start doing this type of work and get into this industry, like yeah, we'd love to hear it.
yeah. So everything kind of originated after COVID happened. I was trying to find something to do, and I was always into music, whether it was like indie growing up or stuff like that, or alternative. I used to listen to Frank Ocean a lot. And then, just building off from there. And then 2021 happened. I was like, I got to do something, man. Like, I'm tired of being at home, just doing nothing. And so the first board I got was actually like the extra mini, like Newmark one that had like it's a party mix, so it has
Yeah,
lights
yeah,
on it.
sure.
And I borrowed it from my uncle for some time. And I was just like, I didn't know what every button was doing. I just like was making something. And it started off with like the music I was listening to the time. So it was a bunch of like The Weekend and more like casual music. And I was just like discovering what it was doing. It's kind of just trial and error. So it was a unique experience. I'm pretty sure I was like redlining every single time I was doing it, but it was fun to me. And actually, my dad actually DJ'd before me, but his was more at that time like CDs and doing quinceañeras and different type of parties and stuff like that, so private events. And I would actually tag along with him since I was little, whether it was helping out with cables or different types of things. So I was kind of already growing up with like, the music industry and how little things work. But it wasn't until like I started learning on my own in 2021 what I really enjoyed and what I really listened to. And so kind of like the big switch that really got me into EDM was actually Frank Ocean because so I went to Coachella 2023. I got my ticket for weekend two. Weekend one happens. We know Frank, he's like, okay, it's canceled. So I'm like, oh my God. The whole reason I bought my ticket was literally to see Frank Ocean. And I was like, dang, dude, like, so I was like, like I already invested so much time and money into like, planning everything. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna still go. And what was funny was that I was at work when the situation happened, and then everyone that could possibly think of, like even my family, my friends, everyone texted like, "Oh my God, Frank canceled," because they know how much I love his music. And
Yeah.
I was like, "No way, dude!" And after that, I just went on, and they obviously announced, Skrillex, Fortent, and Fred again. And I was like, I used to listen to Skrillex growing up too, when I was like, you know, scary monsters and stuff like that
Yep.
through my
Yep.
sister too, because my sister used to rave too. And so I was like, you know, I might as well go because I was like, it's a full on experience. And so I went, and when I really experienced that set, it was very like, whoa. And for the first time, I also saw Fisher and Chris Lake. I was discovering so much that weekend because it was like it was a first for me, and a bunch of it was just doing it solo for the first time. So that kind of like what built things off. And obviously, as time passed, I was building upon the DJ experience, learning different music, learning different genres, how to mix, how to beat match, and all these different type of things. Then a couple years later, I bought my FLX4, which I still have to this day. And just from there, like it's all trial and error. Whether it sounds good or not, you're kind of just having fun at the beginning, and then as you go on, you kind of learn like the technical things. And that brings me to what really has this past years, what really has I've grown the most. I had this big opportunity. My parents lost their part-time job because of the fires going on in Palisades, so then that really affected us. And through a mutual friend, I was able to get an opportunity to DJ at the resident place I am now at, which is called the Football Boutique. It's a space that curates different soccer events and different culture and really bringing, different vibes together. And kind of one of the main reasons I am here, in the positions I am in today. Because if it wasn't for that opportunity and that mutual that really got me that connection, I wouldn't have been turning more into like an artist, you would say, you know?
Definitely, bro. So yeah, that's crazy. And took down some notes on the football boutique. I was definitely gonna ask you some questions
Yeah.
about that later, and get into that. But so, what was your kind of approach to evolving from being more of like a bedroom DJ, learning everything, figuring everything out, to actually like going out and getting gigs and performing live? Like, what was your process like that? Because I know you said that the football boutique helped out a lot, but like, what were some other things that really pushed you or helped you in the process of really starting to gig and really getting out there and doing more things?
Yeah, I think that kind of thinks about makes me think about like the main topic that is now. I think just sending in a mix nowadays and really just like, hey, my name is, that really doesn't work nowadays. And I've been
Yeah.
noticing that. And I think a month or two ago, I was really also starting to do that because I was kind of in a way desperate for more gigs because I was like, I gotta be out there, like I gotta be doing something. But then I learned that the best opportunities come naturally when you're connecting with the people and you just go on your own. There's been instances where I went to go see a friend play at Blind Tiger LA, an underground place here in Los Angeles, and that kind of led to a loop of like just different mutuals and different meeting people. And then all that other opportunities just kind of come naturally, the more you kind of just go into situations of like, I'm just gonna have a good time, and the people I connect with, like, let that come naturally, and you'll see that as well. I also played at, I opened for the main stage for Tell Your Friends, a new collective, and that's been around for a while,
Definitely really
and
pumping.
yeah, yeah, man, it's been crazy. And every time I always go, and then I think the coolest part is when you see your mutuals on a lineup, you're just like, I want to go support them, and really like they really do appreciate that when they see your face, and even when I see other people's faces of people I know that come see me, I'm like, dude, like you really came out. This 2 weeks ago on a Thursday, I played from like 8:30 to 9, and it was like something very like last minute, and then some way somehow these two close friends of mine popped out, and I was like, dude, like I didn't know you were coming. Like what the? It like changes your whole vibe
It
and really
means the
lets
world
you.
to you. It means
Yeah,
the world to you.
exactly. And it's like it's not like you're asking, buy this, buy this. It's just like just show up, and your presence really means so much to people, and really that's where those natural connections come from. I tell your friends, as the opener, I was kind of like just doing my thing and stuff, and then people just naturally came up to me like, hey, I really like your set, and I was like, I never think like you know, that's what people think of during the time, and people are gonna come up to me like I never think about it. Like, I just do my thing, and very focused, very locked in, and then people come up naturally, and it's like it warms your heart. It really does. So what really has helped me, transform into more opportunities is just going out on my own and connecting naturally. These things that come naturally feel better and just feel more authentic to the heart, and then those opportunities just come naturally.
Definitely. And I think, how you're saying about just talking to people, meeting people, like I think especially in today's world that's such a big thing of just
Yeah,
being outside, going outside and meeting people, talking to people,
yeah,
because like you never know, like it's really just making friendships. Like, everyone talks about networking and this, but
yeah,
I think it's really just about meeting friends and meeting people who are kind of on the same trajectory that you're on,
yeah.
and how you can help each other, persevere and just keep growing together and stuff like that. So that's really cool that you mentioned that. So, what were like the first gigs that you were playing? How do they differ from the gigs that you were playing now?
I think I'm starting to learn more like what the real professional, more industrial things are. I think everything at the beginning was like, oh yeah, here, this time, this and this and that. And now like I'm trying to establish that foundation for myself, whether it's contract, invoices, and all these different types of things, and try to have more professional conversations when beginning things. That's what's really, I'm starting to learn more now. I think I'm starting to get more into like, underground raves, and I'm still learning how those things work. And I've been raving for what 3 years now, and I feel like I'm still just learning. Whether it's for true music lovers, how to work things, business wise, but also like just even on my own opportunities as well, like how to really talk to these people that, I feel like I think about myself a lot. Like as a little kid in these like circumstances, because I'm like, yeah, these people are like in charge of this. I played here, but I'm like a close friend of mine named Nico, who's also a DJ at Agora. He's a Brazilian DJ who does vinyl, I had a conversation with him once, and he's just like I told him because I went to what was it, a what's that festival that happens in downtown Skyline? It was a Skyline pop up,
Gotcha.
and different artists were there on a panel and talking. And I remember I had asked a question, and I was kind of like nervous because I'm just like a bedroom DJ still learning and stuff like this, and I'm asking like these questions and stuff like that. And I talked to them after that. I was like, yeah, I remember like my voice was shaking, dude, because like people were like, I played all this and that. He's like, don't worry about that. Like at the end of the day, we're all the same people. We're all trying to get at the same goal, and that's what matters the most. If you really just enter the space as yourself, like I said, things will come naturally, and that really has changed my perspective and how I talk to people and how I approach people. Because I'm sometimes it's like, oh my God, they played at Sound, they played at Avalon, they played here, like, or when I meet different artists as well that I really look up to, the more you just kind of like we're all the same, dude. We all go up there with our USB or vinyls and play music that we enjoy. If you really simplify it to that, you kind of just be like, we're all people trying to achieve the same thing, and that's kind of where you just kind of take that step back and that breather to really realize that. So as I've grown, I've really learn to kind of just approach situations more naturally, kind of just be myself, but also in more industrial wise, like be firm with, whether it's a rate, whether it's, just keeping things really like professional, because that's kind of one of the biggest advice I could give to anyone, honestly. The more like you have your name as a brand and as professional, then you really like you're not just saying like I have zero posts, put me to DJ. You're really putting yourself out there as like, hey, this is who I am, and if you'd like to, have me on board by all means, and this is what I align with. Really, you want to make sure it's not just about like, hey, can I DJ for you? Be like, hey, where are some places you align with that you feel you can add to that space some way somehow.
Definitely. And I feel like how we were talking about earlier, where, just putting together a mix and slapping your name on it and sending
Yeah,
it out, like that, it doesn't really work like that, like
yeah,
you're not going to get booked like that. And how you're talking about branding, like it's so big today of just being
yeah,
able to brand yourself, being able to label, but just brand yourself and be able to show these different people, show these different collectives or whatever it is. Hey, this is me. This is what I do. Like, do are we kind of on the same wavelength here, like is this something you'd be interested in, kind of like that.
yeah,
And just like being able to find the people that you work well with, and sometimes the people that you don't work well with, and just being able to work through that and figure out kind of where you fit in. And it's great to know and be happy in a place and feel loved in a place that you can keep growing in
exactly,
and just keep meeting
exactly.
new people that are really on the same trajectory as you are. So
Yeah.
that's really cool.
To
But
to add to add to that, like I remember when we were kind of like when I put out a post for true music lovers, like finding different DJs, to enter the space. I did get that like emails that's just a SoundCloud mix, and it's like I know you do music, I know you can do music, but I want to learn about you. That's
right.
kind of the main purpose of what true music lovers is. I know I want to give you the space to play your own music, what you enjoy, but tell me about what you like and how we align on that. I feel like you just can't be just sending a YouTube link or a SoundCloud
Yeah.
mix. Like, tell me about yourself. That's how I view things, because I've always been someone as a kid that wants to learn about people and what makes them do what they like. And by just a simple intro, we're able to see like, hey, like, is that someone we align with? Is that would you like to grow with us? Like, just a simple conversation, a simple introduction, does go a longer way. It adds to like that submission that you're kind of putting in.
No, 100%. I think that's great that you speak on that, and getting to know people, because like how you're saying, like someone could send you a pretty fire mix, but just slap it and like just throw it out. But if someone is like actually reaching out and
Yeah,
wants to talk to you, wants to get to know you, like you're a lot more inclined to give the opportunity to that person who is just more vulnerable almost, and is ready to
yeah,
talk to you and meet your needs as much as you're ready to meet their needs and stuff. And it really just is like a work together kind of thing to make
yeah,
sure that everyone here is successful and everyone is just pushing forward and putting their best foot forward. And I think that's really great.
yeah,
So how do you balance, like when you're getting ready for your sets and stuff, how do you balance like your creativity and really what you want to play versus like kind of pleasing the crowd a little bit, or,
yeah.
or playing towards the crowd's needs a little bit more? Like what's your thought process there?
That's a great question, because I was actually thinking about that before this call too, like, and about sets that I have coming up. There is I think that's also one of the things I kind of struggle with because sometimes, I do like my more minimal sound and more like, really, really something you just connect to spiritually. But I guess sometimes the crowd doesn't always enjoy that and wants to hear, the top 40 and stuff like this. Like, if you're coming to a space because yes, you do want to hear great music and stuff like that, but also you wanna help the audience explore their crowd, their music interests, and so that is something I kind of am struggling with because it's like I do want to play the top remixes and something that's really gonna grab the eye of like the crowd and be like, oh my god, like this guy's so cool, this and this and like, but I also just want to like, hey, like have a listen to this song that I found, by searching in different places and stuff like that. That I'd love to share the feeling that I get with this song with you. So that's definitely something that I'm still learning, and especially when selecting my sets, I do get, I still do choose, those top songs and remixes that I think the crowd will like. But I guess it's just about finding balance and where you put that in the set. The more that I think about it out loud, kind of whether you want it to be at the middle, at the beginning, at the end, attention grabbing. Like it's all about the placement in the mix. And the more, like I said, the more natural it kind of comes, the more you feel like, yes, you are, entertaining the crowd, but you're also just adding, that bit of flavor you have, So you also want to make sure, you bring in your sound, but also the sound that people like, because that's kind of what, I guess gets you booked more as well, because
Yeah,
it's like people want that. Like nowadays, I feel like when I go to a couple underground raves, there is still that like, that very surface level sound. Which by all means, like if that's your crowd, that's your crowd. Like by all means, but if you really want to, get more personal and more to the message and more authentic, you kind of just, be who you are and really, it's a strong barrier to pass, and I am still learning that about how to really stay true to my sound and things I like. There's been times where it's like, oh, like, play something else, and it's like, okay, like I can play something else, but is it really like aligning and sticking true with who I am and what I was kind of like uh, put for, So that is still something that I am still learning.
100%. And I take a lot of inspiration myself from the Josh Baker podcast. I don't know if you listen to that
Yeah,
at all, but
yeah,
yeah, he has a great pod and he's always talking about really good stuff. And one of the things that he was talking about, I think it was with Rossi on a couple episodes ago, it was like, what do you think on DJs being like artists versus just giving out a service? And I thought that that
yeah,
was like a really good like question and take on everything, because a lot of the times, like if you really are just pumping out your art and how you see it, like whether that's a hour and a half, 2 hour set of just minimal, loopy, hypnotic kind of beats where it's like no vocals or whatever, like if that's your style, but then the crowd might hate that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like finding that way to blend, like you were saying, like those top hits and those top remixes and stuff, also with blending your own style and being able to stay true to like kind of what you believe in and how you got to where you are. And so I think that's a big thing in today's world of just like blending that artistic ability with also that like service kind of side of it. And so
yeah,
yeah, and it's definitely something that is always growing and changing. But I think it's really great when people stick to their roots and really like to play what they like, and it's even better
yeah,
when the crowd loves it. And I feel like a lot of these collectives and a lot of these undergrounds out here in LA really do give a space for people to share their artistic ability and be able to just really push what they want to push. And so I think
yeah.
that's really good. But so who are a couple of your influences like when you were starting out, and who are some of your influences now? Are they kind of along the same lines? Are they different? Like what's your thoughts on that?
I think starting off, I was very like how I said, Skrillex, Death Mouse, because that's kind of like what I grew up with. Not like it's completely different to the sound that I play now, I guess, because I play more like tech house, hard groove and different types of things. And when I listen to their sound, it's kind of more like, main stage, more like harder and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I grew up. I grew up with Skrillex, Death Mouse. I'm trying to think of more artists, but that's kind of like the main two that I think of growing up. And then now I listen to like a lot of, Clooney, and I'm always like exploring different people that also, drop songs on the record labels, whether it's people that drop songs on Hellbent or Drop Low Records, different places. I'm trying to see like, oh, like what's their sound too. So kind of just exploring. I explore within the different record labels that I like, and there I'm able to connect. I'm also able to connect with those artists on a more personal level as well. Be like, hey, I really like this song. Tell me about it, or let's get to know each other, simple things like that. And that also adds back to how you kind of network within the industry as well. I feel like I've learned and met many different people like that, and everything just kind of comes out naturally. Like how I mentioned, that's kind of one of the biggest messages I want people to know, that everything just comes naturally. Like don't be afraid to get into the music you like. If someone tells you otherwise, like that's okay, you know. And back to the questions that we were talking about before, you're kind of able to, if you really push your sound to things that you like to hear, you know, you over time build your own crowd and people that want to come for that experience and your experience. And so, yeah, now it's a bit more like Clooney, a bit. I listen to a lot of like Alec Cortez. He does a great edits, like, and he's also a mutual of mine. Just kind of like I try to listen to like a lot of mutuals and stuff like that. I'm trying to think some shout outs right here live. Um, yeah, Alec Cortez, Bregua, he's a Brazilian DJ as well. Dropped on Drop Low, dropped on Hellbent, different record label, and all these people are really staying, you know, true to their sound, which I respect. You know, and that's something that I'm definitely trying to learn from all these people that are more involved with whether it's producing or whether it's more knowing more about the industry, because there's nothing wrong with asking. You know, it's better to be someone that, to better to be known as someone that asks than someone that just doesn't ask. Because if you don't ask, then and approach people, like you'll be in the unknown. And if you're wrong, that's okay. You're taking that opportunity to at least ask. So yeah, I think, yeah, my sound is completely different from what I started with. Like I said, my sound before was kind of like, you know, Frank, Tyler, Daniel
Sure.
Caesar and all that stuff. And I'm starting to learn over time what kind of like grabs my attention now. I listen to a lot of like Brazilian music, samba, and all these different type of things that really influence my sound. I think one of the main things that I kind of keep within my sound is like a lot of Latin drums, and I think that's important because it represents, you know, my culture and where my family is from, and it really like keeps, you know, the people that I attract as well, you know, open minded to, you know, that culture, but also people that feel like they need a space of like hearing that, you know, Spanish Latin house. I think, and like I said, more converted to, you know, Spanish Latin house because that's kind of like what I resonate with and what it feels. I like. I'm also connecting with the crowd in that because people are like, I feel like that wasn't a thing, you know, a couple years back too.
Sure,
I
yeah.
feel like there's a lot of non-Latin artists that made Latin sound, and then people were like, oh, like people like this, so then maybe other Latin artists were also like, okay, I guess this is something that's accepted in a way, and people
Right.
went to grow that naturally. So, yeah, my sound's kind of more like Latin house and really influencing and touching base where my parents from, which is El Salvador and Guatemala. So trying to, you know, everywhere I go, just trying to represent that some way somehow.
No, that's great. And I think too, kind of what you were talking about, just mutuals and labels and stuff like that. It's great to just like find artists and dig through their catalog and just
Yeah,
see a bunch of different stuff and listen to a bunch of their different tracks. Because like a lot of these people too, their evolution is crazy. Like you'll see the songs that they were posting 6 7 years ago, and then now, and it's just really cool to like see how people grow and then find like artists through those artists and just kind of like be able to, dig through these different places that we listen to music on instead of like having them give us the music, kind of just
yeah,
like dig through and see, okay, I really like this, how do I find more stuff like this, and just really digging and looking for artists and songs that really resonate with you, and really will keep you pushing forward and keep your mind open to a bunch of different sounds and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool.
yeah.
And what is your? So I remember you talking about the football boutique. What's your kind of relationship with them? I know you said that they really helped you out getting started and stuff like that. So if you could just talk a little more about that and how that came about and what that's like, that'd be great.
Yeah, our kind of like relationship is right now is like mentor, partnership, friend, a bit of everything because it's really like I really have a love for the space and especially like how that one big opportunity has kind of led me to so much more, some way, somehow. And that's something that I really, you know, respect about them. And like I said, everything comes really natural and they're really open minded, which I really do like. Whether it's, you know, um, every second Sunday they host something called the Offside Brew. You basically it's soccer, coffee, and music,
Nice.
and I've been able to kind of help curate those spaces as well. I think the last one I helped did I brought like I opened up the decks, so a bunch of different artists were able to come play their sound, and it really invites them to the community as well. I think over time they're really helping me understand more also, the business aspect of things and how it's like to approach a business. To you say you want to work with them or you want to collaborate with something with them, they really have opened my mind for that, and I think that's something that I'm really grateful for. So every time, I go there, whether it's for playing, or whether it's for supporting, or whether it's being part of a community as well, everything's very open arms, and they're very open minded. And I feel like, a huge shout out to Tony and Jen for really like forming a space that is very natural and very inviting, especially for next year because the World Cup is going to be here. And so, we're going to have different people come in and different, opportunities that are going to be rising. And that's why I'm just so grateful for them. I can't stop saying that because it's very true and it comes to heart. And I really do think about it every gig that I go through. I'm like this, like, it's just crazy how one little but big opportunity, one yes to them, like, yeah, let's have you on board, creates like a whole different timeline that you think wouldn't be possible. And they also have the last Sunday of the month they have something called what is it called? It's like basically we have a program called Immortals Football Club, which is a program that helps kids that play soccer and really help them with like practice, mentorship, and different types of things and learning, more importantly. And we come into the space and we create like mini goodie bags, and then we go to Skid Road with the kids to help give back to the community. And just little things like that I've been getting myself more involved in. Like, I'm not just getting involved in just the DJ aspect, but different types of things because of that natural love for the community in different ways and different spaces I've been able to connect with.
No, I think that's great. Like that's actually really awesome to hear that, and that's really cool that you're always getting out there, working with the kids, working with the community, and always just staying true to what you believe in. And I think it too, like always just saying yes to those opportunities and just always being available, always being ready to go and do stuff like that. Like you never know when the next thing's gonna
Yeah.
happen. You never know like who you're gonna meet at something like that. So just always being open to doing new things, meeting new people. Like I think that's really big, and I think that's awesome that you're very open to that and always just ready to go and do the next thing. So that's really cool. But let's get into the next chapter a little bit. So, what really inspired you to start True Music Lovers?
I think the biggest inspiration is really creating a space where people just feel like they can be themselves. Um, I think when I think about clubs and different types of things, I think of like table service and all these different, that kind of like makes the makes the dance floor smaller.
Sure.
And I don't like that. I don't know. I'm not going to a club to sit down and have a drink. I want to go and dance and really let go and really like, let loose. And that's kind of really the space that I'm trying to create. Really a space where people can just authentically just come and dance and come enjoy themselves and really, see familiar faces play as well. Whether it's like, oh, like I have this DJ that's really interested in playing and hasn't, you know, I'm just trying to provide a space and give push to people that I believe that need it. People sometimes like, yeah, I just haven't gotten my first opportunity yet. I haven't got, my solo set. Like these little things that I just feel like, you see those people that really have been putting in that work for a while, and sometimes they just don't have anything on their social medias. But they really, once you have connected with them personally, they're like, dude, I love to play for you, but I just haven't, I haven't done this and this and that. But you can feel like through their support that they want to make something happen, and really just curating a space that really stays true to what people want to play. I think that's the most important part. And people bringing people on board that really align with that and really just want to create a safe, nurturing space where people can be themselves. Like I said, I don't like that idea of like, you know, like sitting down and just like enjoying a rave from that way. I think a great middle space that I've seen. I just recently went to Sound for a Blind Tiger.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's nicely set up, like down the middle,
I think yeah, I
you
think
know,
it's great. That
freedom.
was I was there too
Yeah.
for that Blind Tiger. That was my first time going
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised we
You're
didn't, I
probably
think we
nearby.
did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I'd always, so I'm a huge Night Base fan. Shout out AC Slater, like always.
Yeah.
So they were pumping through there for like a long time.
Yeah.
And so I've always like wanted to go and whatever. So I saw the blind thing. I was like, hell yeah, I gotta get out there. And you're right, like it's worked really well. There's a little bit of table side sitting and
Yeah.
whatever, but it's mainly like all focused on the dance floor and the people
Yeah.
and just really like the GA people. And I think
Yeah.
that's great. Like there's not too many clubs like that are just, cuz everyone like there's so much stuff out here that's just a money grab and everyone just it's all a business, you know what I mean? The higher
Yeah.
up you get, it just turns in more and more into a business. And so I think
Yeah.
that's great that you kind of have that thought process of just like wanting to stay true to the reason we all go out is to dance and have fun and just be around our friends and really just have a good time. So yeah, I think that's really cool that you're stuck to those roots and those are like your main ethos. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
so I know we talked about kind of like DJ sending mixes and other stuff like this. And so, how do you really decide who you want to book for these events? Like, is it through mutuals? Is it people will message you and just kind of introduce themselves? Like, what's your main thought process when it comes to booking people and letting people play at your parties?
I think one of the biggest things is I have a team that kind of like has what I feel has a bigger, in-depth idea about different DJs and stuff like that, which I'm very grateful for because, like I said, this is something that I'm still learning and still growing. We're actually having our first event August 10th here in my backyard. It's called a Golden Hour. It's basically a daytime rave, from 5 to 10, and very like chill, vibes, and very like just come and have fun and enjoy the day into the night.
Nice.
So I guess the process is really like who people that I really see involved. I really respect and care about that because like I said, really just trying to stay true to the message. I think that's one of the most important things, and finding people that really align with that. And you can really tell by people that care and have been reaching out and stuff like this. And I feel like I could personally tell that they aren't just doing like oh, I want to play because just to play. Like they want to play because I see what you're building and I respect that. And that's kind of one of the many things I see with different people. And sometimes, like today, I had to like reach out to a couple of DJs, like, hey, like unfortunately, like this time you weren't picked, but I'd love to see you next time because I respect that you've been on top of it, curious about what we're building and what we're making, and those simple little like um, steps that they're taking. I really respect that, and you kind of just tell like these people really do want to play and really do want it. So simple things like that as well kind of like make, quote unquote contestants, really, really show out. And with my team, like they know different people and stuff like that. Like I'm very open minded. Like I'm not restricting anybody on playing. And I feel like it's as simple as like if you love it and you're a good person, like the boards are open for you. Like it's really that simple. Like it isn't like a picky, like do you have a whole criteria of
Do
different
you have
things.
10,000 followers
Yeah,
or
yeah,
all
exactly,
that? Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like I don't really care about that stuff, man. Like come to vibe, come to play, be yourself, and that's kind of it. Cause yes, I could get, in the future, hopefully, book big names and all that stuff that really catches the attention of people. But I feel like that's one of the also things that I think of by really staying like one of the coolest things in this industry is being able to give the opportunity to really new people and see them flourish over time. I think a while back when I had my first show at Pattern Bar, I had the opportunity to host a night. And so I curated it, and a friend of mine who's really been wanting to DJ and stuff like this, her name is Izzy Boba. I gave her the opportunity to open because I was like, she was like, I don't know, like I'm shy. There's like I don't know, like this and this and that. I was like, you're gonna be on the lineup and you know just go for it. Like sometimes people need that little push and that opportunity, and
Definitely.
through that opportunity, like she's now been able to play, Star Cross Raved and Sextasy, Lick and Dip, and then all these different places which she manifested before. She wanted to. She's like, I want to play here. I want to play here. I want to play here. Like, and seeing that visually happen now is just like a big congrats to her because it's something that she wanted to accomplish and now she's doing it and she's growing within the LA area and different San Diego and different spaces that she's going to be involved in, and it's just like that's one of the the best feelings to get as someone that can provide opportunities and seeing people grow and flourish into something they always wanted to do and see themselves in, you know?
No, definitely. And so what's your thought process of like trying to keep a community kind of sense to this like TML and also trying to grow it? Obviously, because you know the aspect, the name of the game is growth and being able to just build up, build up, build up. So how do you try and keep that main community aspect while also trying to grow?
I think when I try to think of how I said, people I want to bring on board with this, I really try to think, whether it's small businesses, small business owners, something like this, like it all goes back to providing that opportunity of being able to give that push to different communities and be like, then they flourish in different spaces, and yeah, it's like it's still like a learning process and things that I'm trying to understand whether it, and sometimes I am still a bit worried about what is it like to reach out to a big brand, to whether it's a sponsorship, whether it's as a vendor and these different type of things. And that's one of the things I've been learning through the different people I've been working with. And so I really don't know how to answer that because it's something that I'm still learning to this day. And I feel like once that first big opportunity does rise, it's going to be a big learning experience and having everything really professional but set out, but also staying true to the vision.
Definitely. No, I think that's great, and obviously, you know, we all want to grow, and so I think that'll be great. You know, as you keep growing, and you do end up reaching out to these bigger places, and you get those spots, and you just keep growing, and I think that'll be awesome to watch for all of us. What are some collectives or some parties out here that you draw a lot of inspiration from yourself?
I think one of the biggest ones, like when we started, was Tell Your Friends. I think they've been a huge inspiration to me because how their inner circle is very like, it's not just like random people. It really feels like a family, and you can see that and feel that when you enter their space. Whether it's Irving, CJ, Josh, like all these people that are involved, and all the back end too. Their sound production team, Grupo Oscuro, that helps them out sometimes. Like you could just feel that everyone in a way is connected as a family, and that I really respect, and that's really kind of as well what I'm trying to build. And also, one of the biggest other inspirations is Blind Tiger. I think just seeing everyone and mutuals connect like that, it just feels very safe. It feels very safe to enter those spaces, and things just come very natural. Things come very natural, and that's really what I'm trying to take inspiration from in the spaces that I create. And about that inner circle and the people I bring along, really like step forward with the message and the vision that's in mind, but also like being open minded about what people would like to bring on board, and really like filling different spaces that are still needed within our team.
Definitely. No, that's great. And I think, yeah, definitely tell your friends they've been just popping off lately and
Yeah,
their production is always super fire. Shout out Joe the Pro, LSL
yeah, there
Event
you go.
Pros. Like they're always on top of it, always taking care of business. So that's awesome. But what are your thoughts when it comes to branding? Because you know we were talking about branding earlier and just like how it's really important for yourself, but also for TML and just like really to take the next steps. It is a lot about the branding and a lot about the content nowadays and all that stuff. So what are your thought process? What's your thought process when it comes to that?
Well, when it comes to like branding our brand, I'm really trying to stick true to like colors and stuff like that, because it kind of keeps the brain in mind. It goes. I just graduated from CSUB with a psychology degree, and a lot of what we learn is kind of like if you stick true to these things, then you kind of like it's all connected. If you think about like our colors, which is navy blue and cream, and you see the logo and you see this constant use of it, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, true music lovers. They use this and that. And by having that, you kind of create that brand and that different community, and like just staying true to that. And yes, it has its different like ways to be worked around, so it isn't always like that's the consistent. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to learn about and explore as well, like with content we make and different spaces we enter, because sometimes you're like, oh, it's got to be like this, it's got to be like this, but sometimes it doesn't have to be, and that's something that I'm also learning as well, you know. And that's where like the team that I'm surrounded by, helps with that and give that advice, because sometimes you're like, I need help here. Like, where do you see how we can stick true to the vision, but also add a little bit of, momentum? I think with the golden hour vision that we have, we're really, sticking true to like palm trees, like very summery, beachy vibes. And with the colors that we already have implemented, like everything kind of goes along some way, somehow. And so, really just trying to learn like how we can take from every unique experience. For example, if our theme is that, palm trees and beachy summer vibes, like what are colors we can use from that, experience and connect with kind of like our main colorways as well so that we combine those two visions. And something that we're also trying to do moving forward is really have those unique experiences every time, whether it's a backyard raid, at the beach pop up, little things like that. Every space that you enter has its own unique elements that you're able to combine with your own vision. And I think that's something that I'm really trying to work on and really learn with, because that's how you kind of create new experiences. You have what you have and your vision and your, say, your colorways and your ideas, and then work with what you also are getting and what you have.
Sure. And I think that's great. Like the color waves and everything, and exactly how you say, like when you see it over and over and over, it just ends up sticking. That it's like you just make the correlation in your brain without even
Yeah.
thinking of it, you know. And I think that's a great thing. And so yeah, what's been like your biggest challenges so far with running the collective, and what's the most rewarding part on the flip side of that?
I think one of the most challenging is really just like just going for it. I think sometimes I overthink what I want to create and the vision I have, and really, reaching out to people sometimes too, because it's kind of like, we're kind of just like, sometimes it feels like, it's just mini us, and then like all these 100 other collectives that are like, bam, 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 and it all goes back to that point that I was talking to you about. Like, um, at the end of the day, it's like comparison is the thief of joy that I feel like
Sure.
is really holding things back right now, and really just trying to like separate myself from that, be like, hey, we're true music lovers. This is what we bring to the table, and if you like to align with that, we can help and create something. And I think that is what it feels like the biggest challenge at the moment, and what I'm still learning. And it all goes back to the same message, man. I'm still learning everything, and things are still new from a business aspect as well. And throwing in the towel to these bigger collectives and how we can collaborate with that. I think one a big next step is really collaborating with different collectives, and you know having these different experiences. I feel like that's what really is going to help us grow and really connect more within and put the word out of true music lovers. And I think the most rewarding is really seeing, like, I guess, the vision come to life. I think I'm someone that's very like, big with ideas, and like I want to do this and I see it as this and this and this and this. But then, yeah, I also have to be realistic with myself with what we have available and what we can create. And when it all these different pieces are being pulled together from different spaces and from people on the team, it really feels like we're making it happen. Like we're just like, we're always like, yeah, let's do this. Like, let's make this happen. It's going to be really cool and it's going to look really cool and feel really cool. And when it comes to life, you're like, okay, like we're actually doing it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's one of the biggest feelings that I'm going to get, you know, on August 10th for a golden hour. Is like, whoa, like this is actually really
It's
happening.
going down.
Like it all started with, a cute little logo and stuff like that. And then now it's like, oh, it's actually happening. So it's like, yeah, I feel like that day is just gonna feel very special and very unique, because it's like, family, friends, and different people are coming along to enjoy this event. And I'm excited to see also like uh the people the DJs bring along too. And really, there's a lot of debuts going on. Yuri will be playing a solo debut, and then also my friend Stevie, Function, is gonna do a debut as well. So it's really like, just these little moments and unique experiences. Every set that we have on board is unique in its own way, and different. They're bringing their own vibe and their own curation, and it just feels, like that's gonna feel very natural and you know rewarding in the moment.
Definitely. And I think too, like what you were saying about really just starting and not comparing yourself to other people, other collectives or stuff like that, like that's huge. Like it's the biggest thing, because you can sit here all day and be like, oh, I want to do this, oh, I want to do that, and then get in your head so much about it and just talk yourself out of it, because of there's probably 100 reasons why you could talk yourself out of all these
Yeah,
different things. Like this, that's the same thing for me with this podcast. Like I just was like, all right, I gotta start it. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's great. And it's wonderful to just actually do something that you're passionate about and you really feel like you can put a lot of your energy into and hope that something pays off. And even if it doesn't, like you can just sit there and say, hey, I tried, I went balls to the wall. Like I really did everything I could to make this happen. And that's all you can do. And it's really great to know that like, you're really out here just pushing these boundaries and giving so many different people opportunities to really build themselves and build through you guys and I think that's really great what you guys are doing right now. um what are some dream venues that you would want to throw a true music lovers event at?
Man, I just feel like the more unique, the better. I saw this space actually recently. It was like, it was like there were it was like a bar arcade, but like the arcades were on the side, and then like down the middle, it was like just a little dance floor in the bar and be like a circle bar.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a really cool space to look for into. I think also the football boutique would be really cool. You know, having a curated lineup and seeing different people in their jerseys and really coming for the vibe and to dance would be really cool to have that space filled up like that.
No, I think that's great. And how do you see true music lovers fitting into LA's music scene right now? Like where do you see it just fitting in? And yeah, how do you think about that?
I think fitting in. I think wow, it's a good question. I feel like I told you, there's so much going on and so many people still trying to create a new space that it's just
Sure.
like we right now we kind of just going with the flow, and we're seeing where we land.
Yeah.
And by these different connections that I've been making, maybe I'll be in a space that I didn't even want to begin in the first place, but that space is gonna feel so natural and giving back to us. There's so many things you want to have planned, but then there's a lot of good things that happen unplanned. So whether it's about venues or different spaces we belong in, I think the more the more unique, the more we're able to provide that to LA, and a full dance floor with minimal tabling. It's what's really important. I think that's really cool to think about as well. I think just really people I think are really transitioning now as what we see to less nightlife. I think that's
Sure.
one of the most important things over there on AM radios. What
Yeah,
like
yeah.
one of the biggest influences, globally actually. My friend Joey's involved with the inner circle there, and kind of see him, work on the back end has been really really cool. And all of these are just kind of like learning experiences for me, and kind of taking inspiration from different pieces, and really like like I said, our community has been moving more to like morning raves or daytime raves, because not everyone wants to get home like at 4 a.m., dude.
Exactly.
Like I think that's also goes back to one of the biggest challenges I've been thinking of. Like, I've been for the past couple weeks really out there, really networking, and that sometimes that gets me home really late, man. I think
Yeah,
sometimes
dude.
4 like crazy. I think I played a really late set for Code Red at 4 a.m. and I felt like I changed my whole circadian rhythm for it. I woke
Yeah.
up at 2 a.m. to prepare for everything, and it was like whoa, like when you're in it, you really got to give it your all, because this is the life that I decided to choose and really learn more about.
Right.
Because obviously, because of that love of music, and I've been so thankful for these different opportunities I've been able to enter. But yeah, sometimes it is like oof, you really got to stay up late and
Yeah.
to make those opportunities happen and those connections happen.
Well, and I think that's great too. Like you seem really open minded about where you want your business to go and how you see it, moving forward and everything like that. So I think that's really cool. And how you're talking about those late night things, like everything like that. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. And so, but I think too, like it's really cool to see the people who are really dedicated will be there, will be playing, will always say yes to those opportunities. And so I think that sets apart someone who maybe wants to be a DJ and produce and do this versus someone who's like, this is what I'm doing and
Yeah,
this is the life I want to live. Like you just
yeah,
really have to get that extra gear and just be really dedicated to what it is that you want to do, if it is something that you want to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you can always just sit and stay in the bedroom and keep DJing and do whatever. And no hate to anyone that wants to do that. Like, more power to you, but
Yeah.
like, if you really want to do this for a career and for a lifestyle and for all this stuff, like, you really have to put your time in and do those late night gigs and do those, empty room parties, you know what I mean? And just actually put your time in, learn, and progress. And I think it's really cool. Like, you just really seem open minded and ready to grow in this space, and just progressively keep getting better and better. And I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, I feel like one of the most important things is really like every gig has its own opportunity and its own learning experience, whether it's, the play button doesn't work or the cue button doesn't work or, think some things aren't connected or your crowd isn't feeling it or you have no crowd, like all these little things you kind of learn from. And like no gig that you have is going to be the same. Why? Because you have a different crowd each time. You have a different, vibe, a different set, you know, all these different variables. And you really are, one of the biggest things also I think of is like, you're not just a DJ. There's so many roles you're fitting as well. You're doing your content. You're looking for the music. You're making music. You're, connecting to play at more places. Like when you start off, like it's just you. It's really just you. And if you don't put yourself out there, then no one will. And that's something that I've been learning. Like, and one of the main reasons I've been going out and connecting to these places because I feel like the more I feel like I put myself out there, the more I'm able to connect with people and really, get those bigger opportunities over time. And I feel like it's one of the main reasons I've been able to get the opportunities I have now. Whether it's, sometimes I remember the funny thing when I did a pirate sesh, I had stayed. I finished my 1 hour set. Just wanted to practice and vibe. And I think I stayed an extra. I stayed literally an extra minute. And they start knocking on the door. I'm like, oh, like, damn, I went over. Like, like, my bad. And so they came in, and I was like, I was gonna just straight walk out and be like, oh, like, have a good time. Have a good sesh. But then I was like, if I don't speak up, like, you know, a conversation can go anywhere. And so I spoke to him, and so his name is Warren Brew. He has this other collective called Friends and Strangers, and we just conversated real quick before they started their sesh. And through that, split second um, change of like going straight home, then just having like a 2 minute conversation, that then led to another opportunity, and then playing for their collective as well. So all these little things that and so many roles you have to fit, and everything's like it's just crazy how one yes and one no had really can really change your trajectory moving forward.
Definitely. And I think that's great. Like, it's just always meeting the people, talking to people, and you never know who you're gonna meet at these events. Like, you never know who you're gonna run into and stuff like that. And just like being open minded, being ready to talk to people, being ready to just conversate and not like shut people down or
Yeah,
just not talk. You know what I mean? It is such a big thing in today's world, because everyone's on social media, everyone's trying to pump stuff on social media, but it seems like that was 2 years ago where you could really gain traction, which you still can for sure, don't get me wrong. But in today's world, it seems like a lot of it is face-to-face conversations and just really
yeah,
going out there, meeting people, talking to people, and just kind of working your way up the ladder and meeting new people, and just making friends and working with people that you could see yourself growing with, like how we were talking about earlier with the collective and stuff like that. And just being open to meeting new people, talking to new people, and just like, yeah, always keeping that open mind. So I think that's really cool. And you, like I said, you just seem like you're a really open minded dude and ready to learn, ready to grow, and whatever that looks like for you. So I think that's
yeah,
really cool. But we're just about done here. I got a couple more just like fun rapid fire questions for you as we
yeah.
wrap up. Who is an artist that you found recently that like you've really just fell in love with and you can't stop listening to their music?
um Dang, I feel like Kitama. I feel like I've heard about,
Yes.
dude, he's been like
Bro,
crazy.
that's my
Yeah.
man, bro. For like, oh, dude, yes, I could talk for hours
Yeah,
about him.
he's
For
been going
hours.
crazy.
Yes.
I saw him in San Diego open up
Okay.
for Clooney,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that was really really dope. But just seeing how like him, I think he's a perfect example of someone that's been staying true to his vision,
100%.
and people like although that has I feel like at least from my perspective, it's taken time for him. Like people are like,
Yeah.
whoa, like this guy's like I want to go see this guy, you know. So I think him that comes to mind. I think also I'm trying to think. I think yeah, I feel like that's the one that comes to mind right now straight
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, dude. I'm the biggest fan. When this is a funny story actually, a little side note. When Clooney, because Clooney, his LA show, he was supposed to open,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then obviously they pushed the date, everything like that, everything that happened, and he didn't play anymore, and I sold my ticket. I was like, I just can't, I can't go. I was like, I'm gonna be too heartbroken. I have to not go, and I was like, just so upset. And then his show drops at Sound, immediately sells out, and I didn't even get a ticket. And I was like,
Oh my
dude, what are we doing? So no, but that's really funny. But yeah, so what is a favorite venue that you've played so far?
god. Oof. Oh, I think sound wise, I Tell Your Friends was really good. I feel like
Nice,
I've been really enjoying outdoors, daytime,
sure,
because things feel fresh. Things feel. I feel like that's kind of what I've been enjoying most space wise as well, like crowd wise as well. Like I just like a Sunday midday rave. Like it just feels like so fresh and so cool. I think that's what I've really been enjoying. I played both outdoor and indoor stage, but outdoor was the main stage because that was really really fun. I think another one. What else? What else? What else? I think sound tech was really cool. Um, I don't know. I've been taking more risk in playing and mixing four songs at the same time,
sure.
and I think for my head it's like okay, is it beat matched? Is it beat matched? Is that one beat matched?
Yeah.
Now it sounds off, and it's like oh, but it's like it's just taking the risk, and I've really been doing that recently. I recently played for Utopia Fridays in downtown LA as well. That was really cool because I just like I opened, but I was just like, I'm just gonna give it my all, do this for deck mixing wherever possible, and it's really fun and interesting to do that. And I think I've been really doing that with house, but I also want to learn it with like different genres as well, like hard groove. I think that's really one of the other genres that's been grabbing my attention recently.
Sure.
I'm playing a birthday set actually next week, yeah, on the 9th, hopefully, in San Bernardino. A astrology themed rave, which is really cool, and it's gonna be Leo season, so it's gonna be like wrapped around that. So I'm gonna be playing my first time hard groove set, which I'm actually really
Nice.
excited for.
Nice.
It's like
Love some
you
hard
know,
groove.
yeah, and I feel like personally I just get lost in it, and you kind of
Yeah,
just with multiple CDJs and stuff like that, multiple decks, you're able to really create your own sound and really make something that sounds unique. And I think that's what I really like about hard groove. It's like the it's limitless. Like you could literally create anything you want with it, and
sure.
that's what I've been learning as well from like you know multiple four deck mixing and stuff like that. Like really learning that technique about like vocal here, you like the drums of this song, so you're gonna loop that, and then let a certain part of another song play out, and it's like whoa, like really really cool stuff that I've been learning and been able to have the opportunity to play, which I'm super grateful for, and I'm super excited for actually that Star Crossed Rave in San Bernardino. That hopefully, fingers crossed, it's
No,
gonna
that would be
happen.
awesome, bro. And
Yeah,
and definitely getting into the hard groove, like kind of just stepping
yeah,
out into different genres and being comfortable playing different genres and different kind of music, I think is great and just will obviously help you progress and just
yeah.
keep going and keep grooving, which is really cool. But okay, who would be your dream back to back? Anyone ever?
Oh man, I feel like the top answer I can think of is Clooney because of how like inspired I've been for his sound
Sure.
and the community he's been making. He does a lot for the Latino community and really that's where a lot of his sound actually comes from too.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that that he really has a love and and respects the Latino culture. And damn man, I feel like the people I want to do back to back with have a completely different sound for me. So it's like I'd be playing, like Latin house, and they'd probably play like some completely different raw format. I
Yeah.
think yeah, but I feel like I'm gonna just stay true to Clooney right now. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Okay, do you have any like wild stories from a gig that will just always you'll always remember, just something that immediately comes to mind?
Okay, the first thing I played a USC frat party. I played Spanish music, reggaeton, like different salsa, different genres, and
Sure.
I had to take my equipment and everything, right? Speakers, everything, the whole setup.
Hmm.
And it was like I knew, like frat parties are really like anything can happen, dude.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. Like all cards are out the table, and it's like do your thing, but also like watch your things.
Yeah, yeah.
And like I don't mind when people come up on stage and stuff like that, but just like like don't drop anything. That's really it. Like don't drop anything, and and there was this girl, like she was pretty drunk, and I was like, dang, like she's holding on to my equipment. She's holding on to the speaker, and then my dad came with me, so he was like holding on to the speaker so the speaker didn't fall. And then like it's like shaking and stuff. I'm like, oh no, like I'm trying to play here, like get these people out of here, bro. Like I like having, I like obviously like giving, new people the opportunity to be backstage and stuff like that, and
Sure.
also like friends and mutual too because they really been there from the beginning, and it's like, I think it's just like non-explicit rules that you should already know of, like not
Common
touching that.
sense.
Yeah, common sense, and it's like
Yeah,
it kind of distracts you in a way too because you're
yeah,
just worried
yeah.
about the equipment. It's like they're like, oh yeah, no, and then she started saying like, oh, like what's your name? I'm like, oh, like JP. She's like, oh, do you know the president of here and this and stuff? I'm like, no, I don't know in person. He's like, well, she was like, well, I know him and stuff like that, and and she was like, oh, so I can be. I'm like, sorry, like I don't know you like that, and you're kind of like messing around with the equipment. Like, can you please get down? Just trying to say it in a respectful
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
And she was like, you know what? I don't even actually like your music. Like, you were just dancing to the music like a minute ago. Just like what? Like, but sometimes when you're in a different zone, and alcohol gets to you, sometimes you're just kind of like you're just saying things that things come out, and I get it too.
Yep. Okay, well, yeah, bro, this has been great. Lastly, tell the people what you got going on. This is your time to promo. Tell the people where they can find
Wow.
you, how they can come out, and just get involved with you.
Well, next month is a big month. I have a headliner show in San Diego. I have a possible show in San Bernardino. I think there's a lot of, experiences, and it's my birthday month next month in August, so
Hell yeah.
it's gonna be special. And I hope everyone comes out to support, whether it be true music lovers and other people that I know as well. Like I'm just really trying to, hopefully learn how to produce as well. I think that's one of the biggest steps that I'm trying to take too. And yeah, follow True Music Lovers .la on IG. Follow me, JAY underscore Portillo 12 on IG. And yeah, I'm very open minded. And if you guys ever want to play for my collective or you like to connect, then I'm very supportive as well with other people's shows. So, you know, if you ever come to a space, I where I can provide guest lists, I'll provide guest lists. But all are welcome, and I'm just super grateful to be here on this interview, and it just feels really. And thank you to you as well for providing this opportunity. I remember when I saw your message, I was like, "Whoa, like what?" I didn't know people dig like that. So I was like, you know what, like I'm down, and thank you to you as well. And if you ever want to reach out, and ever here in LA, then by all means come out.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, thank you very much. I had a great time with this interview. You're super well spoken, super good to talk to. And yeah, I think whoever's listening to this will get some good insight into what it's like out here and the life of being in the industry and just trying to make
Yeah,
it work. So, yeah, man, this has been really awesome. And thank you very much for coming on.
perfect. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Of course.